and thank you for attending today. Here's a brief overview of what I'll be discussing today. Hopefully you get some benefit out of it. So firstly, just a general summary of maintenance within the body's corporate industry and how you as property managers can assist your tenants in achieving quick results. Emergency maintenance and what options are available to you as property managers to assist with that. Then finally, providing access to lots so that contractors can actually gain access inside the lot when they carry out on-site inspections. Some of you may already be aware of how most bodies corporate are categorised. This is either as a building format plan or a standard format plan. The main point of difference between the two is what is deemed to be the boundary of the lot. A building format plan is defined by the boundaries of the lot. This includes walls, balustrades and ceilings. Under this particular plan, the roof and most external surfaces are the responsibility of the body corporate. Generally, it's fairly safe to assume that most high-rise residential unit blocks are within the building format plan. However, if you're unsure, just give us a call and we can often confirm that for you. As you can see from these illustrations, the red outline indicates the boundary of each lot. Therefore, anything within that area is actually the owner's responsibility as opposed to the body corporate. So that's always fairly indicative then, and you can assist in determining who's responsible for what. Whereas this illustration is highlighting the standard format plan. So this is where the owner owns the land within that boundary. Like a normal house block, you can see it sort of actually runs to the full extent of that boundary. The owner is responsible for maintaining that structure within their lot. So anything within that red outline there falls back on the owner in this circumstance. The body corporate is only responsible for matters that involve shared services. This may include shared gutters, TV antennas, drainage and sewerage pipes. This slide provides a little bit further analysis as to where the problem could be located and then who would be actually responsible for maintaining the repairs and all the upkeep. Within the lot boundary, or as I previously mentioned, within that red outline, the owner is usually responsible for all maintenance related matters. Inside the boundary structure of a lot, so this refers to the wall between, say, two lots, a wall between a lot and common property. Most likely the body corporate will pick up this expense and be responsible for that upkeep. In a courtyard, an owner will have the responsibility of maintaining this area. This also includes sort of the hedges, any water tanks, pumps. Another area for us that causes a little bit of conjecture is that if a door leads onto exclusive use, the owner is actually responsible for that, even though it's sort of leaving the lot in theory, it's still actually within their boundaries. So that one there, they actually have to maintain and keep that door in good order. I guess one point with the courtyard is that the fence will actually be the body corporate's responsibility, or partly thereof. So often with fences, we just suggest that you run it by us and then we can provide some further feedback as to who's responsible there. Common property areas, this may include the hallways, parking areas and the roof. The body corporate is responsible for the structural elements here. So this is the walls, handrails, flooring and light fittings. In terms of repairing and or replacing the service utility for items that are on common property, this is actually dependent on who's benefiting from that use, and therefore it can be resolved as if they're benefiting, they'll have to contribute to the cost of maintaining that service. For this next section, a good question that you all can ask yourself is the breakdown impacting more than one lot? And I still do that to this day. So if yes, the breakdown is usually a communal system, and this is generally the body corporate's responsibility. And I'll just outline a few little examples that can assist you understanding of this. So probably a big one for us is the garage doors and remotes. So generally the garage doors are responsibility of the body corporate, unless of course someone's caused intentional damage. In that case, the cost is actually going to be burdened by them. Another example is the hot water system. Again, you ask that question, is more than one lot being affected? If no, the owner will be responsible for this. If yes, the body corporate will pick up the expense. Air conditioning. This may include split systems or ducted units, whereby each lot system is separate. Therefore, only one lot is affected. So who would be responsible here? The owner. Whereas a larger centralised system that is common in high-rises and hotels would be the responsibility of the body corporate, as more than one lot is affected here. The final two examples I'll share are just courtyards again. I'll recap that. So having a courtyard is often a nice luxury in a body's corporate complex. However, it does come with that responsibility of maintaining that area. Again, just to confirm the trees, shrubs, the pavers, any shade sails in that area, and drainage all falls back on the owner. For doors and windows, it's important to consider what I spoke about earlier within that red outline of boundary. So if both sides of the window or door are inside the lot, that is inside that red area, such as a dividing wall between, say, a bathroom and a bedroom, the owner is actually responsible for that, remembering that only one lot is affected in that circumstance. However, if a window is in a boundary lot of the structure, such as a window up on the 5th floor, this is where the body corporate is going to actually pick up that expense. The next major topic that I'll discuss today is how to achieve quick results for your tenants. So, as Matthew touched on briefly before, if you notice a maintenance concern whilst you're out on site, please notify our office in writing, and that way we can sort of try to address that and go back to the committee as in terms of getting a response from them, how they want to address that item. And just note, we don't deal directly with tenants, so it's important that you guys liaise with us and you're the link there, so it's important to remember that. And when notifying us, if you can provide as much detail as possible, that's always beneficial. So this may include like the street address, the body's corporate name and CTS. Sometimes you won't have that available and we appreciate that, but if you do, that's really beneficial for us. The lot or unit number, usually the same, but this can differ. Matt mentioned it previously, so again, provide as much information as you can. And probably to assist is just a comprehensive summary of what work you actually want done. So whether you have quotations available, we can then pass that on to the committee and they can consider that and resolve it. So photos, this always assists us greatly in determining what exactly is wrong and whereabouts on site it is. And then also just provide further detail, whether it's sort of a gas hot water or electric hot water. That makes a big difference for us in informing the contractor when they go out to fix it. So. And just to assist with maintenance, as you're all now aware that Capital has launched this new website, and I do strongly urge you to all go and have a look around. There is terrific information and it does assist with your understanding of what's happening in our world. And also there's a lot of forms on there that can assist you guys in achieving great results for your tenants. So I'll focus obviously on the maintenance request form. This can be located on that link there. Or easier method is just to look under the resource tab. There's two options there. Online forms will have it, or actually under the maintenance tab itself. So I've just got here as well. Please note, obviously there's some mandatory fields that need to be populated, and make sure that you tick the agent field just before you submit it, and that way then we know it's come from you guys, and we can obviously then liaise with the committee. And with those requests, obviously we can't provide a response straight away, as Matt was spoke about earlier. So we ask that you do allow a 14-day turnaround because we have to pass it on to the committee. Sometimes members can be away, otherwise it sort of can take time to get a response. This slide here just highlights exactly where it can be located. Obviously resource tab at the top there, that's the online forms and maintenance requests there highlighted. And also down the left-hand side there you'll see another maintenance tab, so the PDF version and stuff can be downloaded there. The third topic today is on